Hey, it's Tamara Monosoff. Welcome to the webinar. I'm delighted that you're here. And welcome if you're just joining in. We're just about to get started, and I'm just thrilled that you're here joining me today. And if you are just logging in, if you can jump into the chat box and let me know. I'm going to click over to the chat right now and just let me know if you can hear me okay and you can see the screen and all is well. If you logged in last week and you were unable to get in because of technical difficulties, bless your hearts for coming back and joining me. We're going to have a great webinar, and I'm going to share really valuable information for you that you can use right away for your businesses. And so please go ahead and jump into the chat and just let me know that all is well. In the meantime, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tamara Monosoff, and I have written 6 books for entrepreneurs, and I have a website called tamaramonosoff.com where I share tips and tools for entrepreneurs to help both make money and build a business that you love. And right now today, the focus of our talk is going to be on product sales and how to set income goals. And so we'll get started in just a few minutes. And great, Douglas, yay, you can hear me. Michelle, wonderful. Okay, good. Yay, the technology is working. I'm thrilled. Trust me, after last week, I was like, afraid to hit any buttons the wrong way. But today it looks like all is well. Laura, Kelly, Helen, wonderful. I'm so pleased. So let's go ahead. I am going to share my screen with you right now. And so hold tight for just a second while I share my slides and let you know what the flow of our presentation is going to be today. Okay, so let me just give me a second. And hopefully you are seeing my slides just right, okay? So essentially what we're gonna talk about today is how to set income goals for your business. And if you are a whiz at spreadsheets, this is not for you. This is going to be very simple for you. But if you are a creative entrepreneur and you love coming up with ideas and you're trying to figure out how to build your business and this has not been your strength, I wanted to create a very simple way to think about your income goals, and also want to share some creative ways to sell more products that you may not have considered previously. So we're going to, in part 1 of today's webinar, I'm going to walk through the steps of setting these goals. The second part is we're going to talk about different ways to sell your products. Then I'm going to talk about a bonus, and I threw another bonus in there that I think you're going to love, and I'll tell you about that, and then, as well as a special offer. And then after that, we're going to go into 3 more ways to sell that you may not have previously considered. And then I'm going to open up the door to question and answer. And I know someone just sent me a text saying, hey, can we talk about sales reps and how to work with sales reps? Absolutely. You are welcome to ask me anything. Let me just say this. Because there is a delay in this system, it's important that as you're thinking of your questions, please pop them right into the question box. So you can put it into your chat, and there's a little box that you can tick that says to show it as a question. So go ahead and send me those questions throughout this presentation, and then we're going to turn it over to question and answer. We're together today for 90 minutes, so I'm staying on here with you to make sure that you get your biggest questions answered and that you are well on your way. So my personal goal is to give you real information that you can use, as always. There's no point in wasting our time. I really like to dive in and give you tools that are appropriate to grow your businesses immediately. So it's important when you're thinking about your income goals to be honest with yourself. Have you been avoiding this? I know for a lot of us, we dream of creating these booming businesses and our products selling wildly, and yet we don't set income goals. And it's really not your fault. If you've never been taught how to do this, then it makes sense that you wouldn't do it. So hopefully with this model today, you're going to see that you can do this, and that the exciting thing that happens is that when you can see it on paper, you can really wrap your brain around what's possible, what you have to accomplish, in terms of product sales to accomplish reaching your financial goals. So it really can be fun once you embrace this process. So I'm going to show you a screen now. Don't let this scare you, because once I walk you through the steps, you're going to be well on your way. So the first thing, look at that green arrow. It's going to show you an annual gross income goal. Now, that can be any number that you want it to be. It could be 100,000 annual gross income. It could be 250,000, 500,000, a million, whatever you want to set your goal. So this is just an example here. But let's start at the top. At the very heading, I want you to pay attention to this. This is for a product business, and this is for if you are selling wholesale to a retailer. So imagine that you want to see your product selling in store shelves. And let's start at the very top, and the customer is paying $20 retail. So you're in Walmart right now, the customer is seeing your product hanging there, and it's $20, and that's how much they have to pay. So you cut that number in half, and that's your wholesale price that you will be paid by the retailer. A retailer expects to make what's called 100% markup or 50% margin. Okay, but to say that simply, just cut the number in half, okay? So we're looking at $10 now. That's what the retailer is going to pay you. Now let's imagine that your production costs, the amount that you will pay your factory per unit, is $4. Then what you need to do is subtract that wholesale price that the retailer is paying you minus the $4 that you're paying the factory, and you're left with $6 gross profit margin per unit. Okay, see how that works? Now you can divide your number here to get your percentage of gross profit margin. I want you to see that 60% gross margin is healthy. Whenever I'm developing a product, I always want to make sure that I'm making 50% or higher. So just note that that is a healthy margin right there. So now let's look at what this means. If you look below where it says the 250,000 annual gross income goal, and you'll see 41,000 units. Well, how did you get that? Well, you take the goal, 250,000, and you divide it by the gross profit margin above, which is that $6 that you earned. And that tells you that you need to sell 41,000 units per year, and you divide that by 12. That means you need to sell 3,416 units per month. And so that means that let's just say you had to get into 41 stores selling 83 units per month per store to reach this goal. And to divide that even further, it's to approximately 21 units per week, and then that is about 3 units per day per store. So if you're thinking, wow, that is just not attainable, then what you need to do is increase your number of stores. So looking below, you can see that there are, if you double the number of stores to 82 stores, selling now a half as many units, 42 units per month per store, then that breaks it down to 11 units per week and approximately 1.6 per day per store. And I want you to note that there are many store chains that have more than 82 stores as part of their chain. And if you can plug into a chain, so one 82 store chain would mean that you would have to sell 11 units per week per store, and that achieves your $250,000 gross income goal. So this is attainable, and I just want you to know that as you can see, it's really helpful to break this down. And it's a very simple model, but it really gets you thinking about, what do you need to do? How many do you need to sell? How many units do you need to sell? How many stores do you need to get in order to achieve your income goal? So now let's look at this same model a little bit differently. Now, same thing is for products, and it's the same goal, 250,000 units. But now we're selling, look at the very top of the screen, we're selling direct to the end customer, okay? So the customer is still paying $20. That's how much they're going to pay. That's the price that they're willing to pay. So that has not changed. The difference is that now you've taken out the retailer. You're selling direct to customer. So now you are making more, right? Because you've got $20 that their customer's paying. The production costs are still $4 that you're paying the factory per unit. And when you subtract that, you've got $16 gross profit margin left over, which is an 80% gross profit margin. So in order to hit your annual gross income goal of $250,000, you need to sell 15,625 units per year, and divided by month. Oh, remember just how we got that number is you take your income goal, 250,000, divide it by your gross profit margin, which is the $16 above. And then you see that you need to sell 1,302 units per month, 325 units per week, and 46 units per day. Okay, so this is how to achieve your income goals when you're selling direct to customer. Now, obviously, if you plug into the retail system and you're selling wholesale, you're making less per unit. However, they have distribution channels that you can plug into and you can sell in volume. So there are advantages and disadvantages to both. And we're going to go ahead and talk some more about this in just a minute. But some of the ways that I'm going to teach you to sell today, it's absolutely possible for you to sell in volume today that didn't exist before. And that's why I'm excited about what we're going to talk about, because I want you to really open up your mind in terms of different ways of selling your product. Okay, so now that we know our income goals, it's time to sell. So one of the best strategies is to start out with local sales, because if you prove your sales locally, it will give others confidence to try your products out. Now, this is for products or services. So, but if you just try to go to Walmart, I had a student tell me last night, oh, well, how do I get into Walmart? Well, yes, I'll tell you some ways to get into Walmart, and I will tell you today as well. But really, the key is to prove your sales locally or online, and we'll talk about that in a minute, so that you can share that sales data with these larger stores, because they don't want to take any risks. And so this is the best point of entry for you to have some success that you can share your success stories with. Also, it's important as you're building your business and building your customers and your relationships with your customers is to establish value beyond price, because low price is unsustainable over time. Well, what do I mean by that? You can, let's say, go head to head with your competitor. And if you keep driving down the price lower than your competitor, you're not going to win in the end, because you will not have enough margin left over to have a sustainable, viable business. So instead, rather than the very lowest price, I want you to focus on premium service, quality product, building confidence and trust in your customers, building your relationship, and having the most phenomenal customer service, where people come back and they're just like, wow, I loved working with this company because they were on it. They made me feel like I got exactly what I needed. And when something didn't go well, they took care of me. Whatever happens with your relationship, you just nurture this relationship, and your customers will love you and want to continue coming back. So it's not just about low prices. So this is a way to get into the big box stores. Now you've proven yourself in your local sales. Don't overlook local purchase programs. This is one of the most effective ways to get into the big box stores. Now, Walmart, Sam's Club, Whole Foods have local purchase programs. And if there are other big box stores you want to get into, certainly ask them if they have local purchase programs. Interestingly, corporate offices of Walmart, Sam's Club, and Whole Foods have given their regional managers the power to test local products. They can do this without having to get the approval of the corporate office. This is fabulous for you, because you can walk into the store, and I have done this, by the way. I got a product into Walmart by walking into the store, asking if I could speak to the regional manager, talking to them about my product, and asking if they would do a test. So it really is possible, and I have other students that I've worked with who have indeed done this exact same thing successfully. So you can walk in, ask if this is a product that they would sell, if you'd be willing to, if it would be possible to be part of their local purchase program and get set up as a vendor in that way. The beauty of this is, excuse me, is if your product does well, now instead of you trying to go speak to the corporate office, you've got the regional manager who has sales data who is now speaking on your behalf. They're going to corporate saying, wow, we could not even keep these in stock. We just blew through this item. It's really, really successful. I really think we need to roll this out nationally. So imagine the difference of that. You trying to pound down the doors of the corporate office, and instead the regional managers are doing it for you. So the reality is that this is not easy, and sometimes when you're trying to land these big accounts outside of the local purchase programs, if you're just trying to go the other route through the corporate office, it can take a long time. It took me 2 years to get, I got into a distributor for grocery stores, over 10,000 grocery stores nationwide. It took me 2 years to get that account. And I contacted them every 3 months, trying not to be a pain, but yet staying on their radar. Every 3 months I contacted them. I just wrote it on my calendar and asked if they'd be willing to do a test, and eventually got into 10,000 grocery stores almost overnight, just from being persistent. Also understand that rejection is just part of sales. I know you know this, but it's still hard when it happens to you. This is the most important thing. When someone says no, it could just mean no for now, and don't just say okay and have your head down and walk out and feel terrible. Instead, ask why. You never know what the answer is going to be. And I have had people, especially in the big box stores, say, well, when I've asked why, well, it's not that we don't like your product, it's that you've already missed the deadline for our line review this year. Okay, well, when's the line review for next year, and how do I get into the lineup, right? So you need to ask these questions. Now, if they say, no, I don't think it'll sell, ask why not. Well, your packaging's too big. Oh, really? What are the dimensions that the packaging would need to be in order to sell successfully in your store? And what other changes would you make? So always turn it around into a question or questions, and keep asking what it would take to make your product a success in their store, and get them thinking about your product and giving you feedback. And then you can even say, and this is what I've done, great, when I make those changes, can I bring my product back for your review? When I've made I've actually made product changes. I've had big box stores say, oh, you know, we like the product, but we don't like the color. So great, if I change the color, what are your most popular and best-selling colors? Oh, green, purple, blue. Great, if I change it to those colors, can I bring it back for your review? Or if I change that packaging, can I bring it back for your review? And the answer is, I've always had the answer be yes, because if you're listening to what they think will make your product successful, then they're on board, they're helping you out, you come back and you show them. This has happened over and over again. Also take advantage of big box diversity programs. They've made commitments, especially Walmart, Lowe's, I know has a big diversity program. A lot of these big box stores are committed to getting a more diverse vendors for their stores. So be sure and take a look and take advantage of these different ways of getting in and becoming a certified supplier. There's the National Minority Supplier Development Council you can contact. Women's Business Entrepreneurs National Council. I have had 2 people, because they've had this certification, get an opportunity to present in front of big box stores just recently. The National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Pan-Asian American Chamber of Commerce, and National Veteran-Owned Business Association. And you'll see those links below are the direct links to the supplier application on Target and Walmart. Okay, this is what's exciting. Daily deal websites. You know, in the past, it was so much harder to sell in volume on your own, right? Because it's just hard. Well, now with daily deal websites and Amazon, of course, you have a whole new world is open to you. First of all, just becoming a seller on Amazon, think about it. How many people are shopping on Amazon every day compared to how many people are going to your website to shop? Okay, so why not take take advantage of the opportunity of setting up shop on Amazon? It just makes sense. Also, with daily deal websites, I'm having so many people I am working with are having huge success on these marketplaces. So go through the process. They make it very simple to apply to be a part of this. I've filled these out myself. The forms are very simple. Groupon, Amazon Local is huge. Living Social, Life Booker, Zulily. I have several women that I've worked with just recently who have been selling thousands of units repeatedly on Zulily. Also, interestingly, this was really, I think you might find this useful, is I thought, well, how many units are we talking about that, you know, in terms of how many do you have to have on hand? I just spoke with a Zulily buyer, and she said, well, we could test it out with as little as 15. Wow, 15. So if you're thinking, oh, I need to have thousands of units, no, you don't. 15 units, that's it, just to test it. So I was really excited to hear that information, and I hope that that takes some of the pressure off of you when you're thinking, wow, you know, maybe I can get some high-end samples made and see if I can get these things selling, and if people love them, then I know that it's a go, and I'm gonna go into make larger production runs. Also, having people that I'm working with having great success on kidssteals.com as well as unbeatablesale.com. So just really quickly, just want to tell you the bonuses. I'm going to give you the income goal templates that we were going through, and they're clickable and downloadable. You can save them to your desktop, and you can also take the link and drop it into any browser, and they're clickable, which means that you can just play with all of your income numbers and change it any way you like, and it's this really awesome tool that I think is going to empower you and make you feel so much more confident about what you need to accomplish with regards to your sales. Also, just as another bonus, just threw in a new product sales success checklist just to make sure that you're on track. For me, I always love having a roadmap to know where I've started, where I'm going, and so it's a checklist for you so you can just make sure that you're on the right track, okay? Now, here is, just so you know, this is the income goals that you're going to get, and you're going to be able to click on all those blanks and add in your numbers and play with those to see how many stores, units you need to sell in order to make money. Okay, really quick, as part of this webinar, I'm going to just quickly tell you about Product Sales Bootcamp. It's an online video program that I've created, and all of these modules are immediately accessible 24/7. Where Module 1, we talk about creative marketing tools to build your brand and business, buzz for your business. In 2, we talk about social media platforms, really how to drive traffic back to your site, and how to create wow factor emails. You're going to see down below, I'm giving away a template for this. I've had my students using this email to send out to retail buyers and landing 6-figure purchase orders. Incredible, with this simple email template. So I want you to have that in your hands. Also, how to land media interviews. I'm also going to teach you how to write a marketing plan. And yes, in the bonuses below, I'm giving you a blank marketing plan, as well as one filled with examples so that you're not starting with a blank page. In Module 4, I teach you about many more sales and distribution opportunities beyond what we've had a chance to talk about today, but I'm still got more to share with you, so don't go away, because after this, I'm going to really give you some more ideas about how you can sell. And then in Module 5, we're going to talk about tips for enticing retail buyers and how to write a sales plan. And again, you're going to get a blank template and also one filled with examples so that you have ideas that you may not have considered before. Also, a video interview where I interviewed Vanessa Ting, who's a former buyer at Target. And finally, how to find and work with sales reps and distributors to build your business. As you can see on the bottom right, you will get a downloadable workbook so that as you're going through these video modules, you can write your notes right in the workbook so you have everything organized and in place. And you're going to go ahead, I'm not going to read all these bonuses to you, but you get all these templates and resources that are really important, helpful information. And if you've been with me before, you know what I mean. I give you everything I possibly can to help you along your way. In addition, you're going to see that little coffee with Tamara symbol with my face and a cup of coffee. That's because every month I do coffee with Tamara. So after you purchase the program, you are never alone. Once a month, we do just this. We jump on and we do Q&A to make sure that I can answer your questions so that you can easily get your questions answered and move on. And finally, Ann Hurley, she just wrote this to me last week, so I'm going to just share it. My sales were going nowhere until I took your class, and now I'm in Babies R Us, Burlington. As you know, I'm in conversations with a few major big box stores. I've sold 15,000 units this year so far, so thanks again for your help. Super excited for Ann and the success she's having. So during this webinar, if you're on my website, you know it's $497, but now it's $97. And I extended this because of last week's snafu with the technology. So here you are, you can have it. And I've actually thrown something else in that you are not going to believe. And I just thought of it this morning just to make this a real wow for you. I'm also including, if you get during this webinar, the Product Sales Bootcamp, I'm throwing in my hot lists. Yes, my top US retail store contact list and top US catalog list. I have never done this before. And just real quick, the catalog list is a list of 150 top catalogs in the US, and which it has a reach of 40 million homes. And in addition, the retail list is 350 retail store chains. Remember I said all you need is one 82 store chain. You've got lots of chains, including military stores. I mean, big box stores. And what it has is the contact information. It has the corporate contact information and LinkedIn contacts for buyers, as many as possible. In not all cases there are LinkedIn buyers, but it is a robust list that I've had lots of people having success with as they're working through the list. So now you'll get it as part of Product Sales Bootcamp. So how do you do this? Well, let me just jump over here. Just give me a second. And you're going to see this pop onto your screen right now. And I'm going to jump ahead and we're going to keep on going. And I'm going to give you more ideas in just a second. But I just want you to have access to this. This is a one-time payment of only $97 and you get everything that we just talked about. All right. So I'm going to go on, but I'm leaving up that offer for you to take advantage of right now. Okay, so let me share my screen again. And here we go. Just give me one quick second. There we go. Should be one more click and we all should be good again. Okay, great. So here is just a response, and then we're going to jump into ways you can sell. This was Tony Hafner's response when she got the retail and catalog list. She said, "This information is huge. Thank you so much." When I opened it, I was in awe, and all I could say was, "Wow." Just another really quick thing: if you get your hands on that list, the retail stores list, once you open up the spreadsheet, go to the tabs at the bottom, and it's all broken down by industry. And so big box stores, and you've got all different types of industries, whether you're a kitchen gadget, you've got beauty accessory, you've got a pet product. No matter what it is, there are so many stores on there that you're going to have no problem finding stores for your products. Okay, moving on. If you need help with any of this and need help with, if you're having any issues at all with getting a hold of Product Sales Bootcamp, you can contact Heather. She's standing by. Awesome member of my team, and she'll take care of you. Okay? Moving on. So you may be seeing shortcuts, and for one thing, a great opportunity, if it makes sense for your product, is TV shopping networks. And I've been on QVC many times, and one of the things that I really would have loved is if QVC Sprouts had been available when I was on air. QVC Sprouts is a fantastic opportunity for you. If your product makes sense for TV shopping networks, QVC Sprouts is a way for you to test your product with QVC online with their fans, and they have a huge following, as you know, millions of people on QVC. You can test it online through their Sprouts program. If it goes well and is successful, then they will invite you to go on air with you. go on air with your product. The advantage of this is when I was going on to QVC, there was no test. So I had to prepare literally thousands of units in QVC packaging, had to ship it to their warehouse. And then after it was received in the warehouse, then they would give me an on-air date. I had complete sellouts where I sold every unit, which was a thrill. Can you imagine? I mean, we were making thousands of dollars within minutes, to completely bombing, where the product just did not do well during that segment. So I've experienced both. So in the Q&A section, if you have questions about those experiences, I'm more than happy to answer it. There are other shopping networks, Home Shopping Network, Shop HQ, which, as you can see, Click and Curl, Kim Nims Gern, who's featured in my current book, The Mom Inventor's Handbook, second edition, sells successfully and repeatedly. She's an often invited back on Shop HQ. She's also sold on the TSC, TSC, which is the shopping channel in Canada. And the advantage is that if your product solves a particular problem and demonstrates well, this is what they're looking for. Does it make people's life easier? Does it have unique features and benefits? Does it appeal to a mass audience? Does it appeal to women? Is it topical and timely? So these are the questions that, any of these home shopping networks will be asking. So just ask yourself these questions in order to see if yours makes sense for this type of venue, because yes, you really can make tons of money doing this in a very short period of time. Again, the caveat is that it has to demonstrate well, solve a problem, and really take into account these considerations. Products under $15 do not work with this model, because the shopping, when you are adding to shopping cart, the cost of shipping is usually about $15, and that does not go well with their customers. So that happened to me with my first product with QVC. I approached them with my first product. It was too inexpensive. They said no, but then I went back to them again with a different product, and that time it worked. Oh, and by the way, the time I went back, it wouldn't have worked if I had just shown them the individual product, but I knew the price point had to get higher, so I bundled my product they were the Good Bites crustless sandwich cutters, and in the grocery stores nationwide, I was selling those one at a time. But when I went onto QVC, I offered them 4 different colors, 4 different shapes, and we bundled them into a box in order to get to a price point that would work for QVC. So I would just want you to expand your thinking about, okay, wait a minute, how do I bundle this differently for different types of selling opportunities? There are thousands of online retailers. Drugstore.com just kind of blows me away. If you haven't been there, go check it out, because just about any type of item can sell on Drugstore.com. So definitely take a look. Also, I'm just throwing these out here. All of these are on the catalog list and retail list, but I just want to throw these out here just to expand your thinking about selling online. So there's great baby products, diapers.com, Backcountry, All Modern, Save on Crafts, Elder Store, all different types of online retailers today that simply did not exist in years past. Also, do not discount catalogs. Catalogs are, in my view, golden. You can search on catalogs.com or catalogmonster.com, or you're going to have the top 150 if you end up getting my list today. If you decide not to do that, you can check these resources out. And I got my first order for $100,000 from a catalog I had never heard of. LTD Commodities. I don't even know, someone just mentioned it to me in passing. Oh, have you heard about this? And I'm like, no, I have no idea what that is. And we just went bam, first order 100,000, and they just kept on reordering. Very exciting. So, and this LTD Commodities, the contact, all that contact information is on the list that I provide as well. Okay, so just last slide, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. Is really the key to enticing retail buyers is to remove all the risk possible. So as I mentioned earlier, have some success, whether it's on daily deal websites, home shopping networks, online retailers, within your local mom and pop stores, whatever your success is, That's what retail buyers want to hear. They want to hear that your product is selling successfully. And then in addition, sweeten up the deal. Pay for shipping for your first order. Offer products on consignment. I've had success doing this. So when I've gone in and consistently gotten a no, oh no, the timing's not really right, or whatever it is, I've said, well, listen, would you be willing to test it on consignment? I have gotten myself into so many stores this way because their ears perk up, because that means that you give it to them and it's free. And so you let them test it out. If it sells well, then they only pay if it sells. If it doesn't sell well, then you come and pick up your supply, or you pay for shipping for it to be shipped back to you. So be willing to do this, because this takes away the risk, and it's a great way to get your foot in the door. You can offer discounts like buy 2 cases, get 1 free. This is a big one that retail buyers love and appreciate. Also, things that I did is I offered an additional 5% off if they paid by credit card. And I'm talking about retailers. The reason why is because they don't expect that. They expect you to say, oh, well, I'm getting charged 5% by my credit card company, so I have to add an additional 5%. Well, no. You give them an additional 5% off, and I had such success getting people to pay upfront and pay early just to get that 5% off. And the beauty of that is you get the cash in your account immediately, which helps you with your flow of operations and ordering more supplies and all of that. So some great ways to entice retail buyers when you're trying to get them to buy from you. So with that said, I am going to open it up the floor to questions. And so I'm going to jump over to the chat. So just give me a second to get back to my other screen. Okay, and I think we're good. Let me get over here. Okay, so the chat room. Hooray. Okay, I see your questions. Terrific. Okay, Deborah, how does Zulily work with orders and shipping? Does Zulily contact you with orders, or do you have an account to keep track of orders, and how is the shipping handled? Great question. So it's not always done the same way, and I've learned this. So I have had people working with Zulily successfully, and all they do is Zulily sends them essentially a purchase order saying, okay, we want to have X number of units available, and then but they don't say don't ship it to their warehouse yet. They wait to see how many actually sell, but they just want to have like a ballpark figure. Okay, how many are they going to offer up? Let's say you have 500 units. They want to know that ahead of time so that they can cap it off. If they blow through the 500 units, they want to be able to stop it off and say that the item has been sold out at 500 units. You don't ship it to their warehouse ahead of time like you do with QVC. Instead, you're just standing by. Then, after they go through the sales process, they will send you a real purchase order saying, okay, we need you to ship. I know you had 500 units available, but we really only sold 350. Ship those 350 to our warehouse. They pay for shipping. This really shocked me. They pay for shipping to their warehouse, and then they handle the shipping. So that's amazing. What I also thought was awesome is they have a dashboard. So once you become a vendor with Zulily, you have a live dashboard that you can watch the sales trickling in real time. Pretty exciting. So they just have this whole system worked out. It's fantastic. So I hope that answered your question. Okay, Michelle, what do I state in a letter to retailers or QVC when I ask them to consider my beauty tool product? One of the things that you want to do is, as I mentioned, you want to say something really sizzling in the subject heading. So, Michelle, whatever success you've had, now let's say you've really not had a lot of sales success yet, but you've been featured in a beauty magazine. That's great. Say that in the subject heading. Just featured, or whatever your tool is called. Say the name of your beauty tool. Beauty tool just featured in Women's Day magazine, or whatever success that you've had. Put that into your subject heading so that people take notice. Oh, somebody's having success. Oh, it was just featured in a magazine, or oh, they just sold 1,000 units in 3 hours on Zulily. Wait, I've got to check this out. right? And then when you go into the letter, you want to keep it very short and sweet. I think one of the biggest mistakes that we as entrepreneurs do is we give way too much information, especially when you're trying to reach out to a retail buyer retail buyers, by the way, buyers are stressed out individuals. So you've got to make things very easy and simple for them. Just have a description really quick, 1 or 2 sentences max about what the product does and what it does, who it serves, just perfect for blank, and say what it does. Then have a great photo and then a link to a product video. You want to have a link to a product video for it to be demonstrating how the product works. That is your quickest bam, 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 wow email to entice retail buyers to want more. And then of course at the end, just say, if I don't hear from you, if you're interested, please email me and give the contact information and give your phone number, whatever information you want to share. But then, and also a link to your website, but then also say, if I don't hear from you in a week, I will be contacting you again, and tell them what date you're going to contact them and put that in your calendar, and do follow up exactly when you say. So they know that they're not off the hook. They know that, wow, she's not going to go away, so I better take a quick look and look into this. Okay. And and remember, if they say, no, we're not interested, don't just delete the email. Say, I understand. Can you please just tell me why? Just do your best to find out what the issue is, because it may be something that can be easily fixed and not a big deal at all. Okay. But otherwise, if you don't ask, you will not know. Okay. Dawn, great resource and price. Yay. Thanks, Dawn. Okay. I am moving down. Any other questions? Douglas, how do I drive more traffic to my websites? So you're going to want to, again, think about creating a great deal. Douglas, I see your websites right there. I can't go look at that right now while we're online, but what you want to do is you want to give people something, a wow. Like, why do I want to go check this thing out? So what's the result that people are going to get from using your product? How is it going to transform their lives? Think about that. Now, how can you say that in a sizzling little sentence, that the result they're going to get by your product? Then you're going to link them back to, drive them with a coupon that says 50% off. That's 50. I don't like any of these 10% off, 15% off. If you're going to give something away, be generous. It just makes people feel good. So just be generous and give something real away. Now, obviously, if you can't afford it, then give something else that is real, but make sure that it's something of value and people don't feel like they're being tricked in any way. So just say, 50, get this result. If you want to have this result, or and start it out with are you experiencing, let me just make something up because I have no idea what your thing is. But if you're experiencing like you can't sleep, are you struggling getting a good night's sleep? Okay, you're asking this question. Then your product solves that problem. Then you can say, X product has now solved this problem in a new healthy way. Okay, I'm making this up, right? But a new healthy way. And then you say 50% off for your first order and drive people back. Also, do a product demo. Take that video link. I can't tell you, the power of video is just, this. There are 1 billion people using YouTube. There are 4 billion people looking at videos daily. That's the new stat. So you need to be using video to show what your product does. And so you can do a demo about your product, and that could be an awesome way to drive people to learn more about your products and services. So you take that demo video, are you having trouble sleeping? Check out this video, and say how it's going to help, what result they're going to get. They're going to sleep all night long. They're going to have the best sleep of their life. Okay, whatever it is. And then you link them back to your site to learn more. All right, I hope that answered yours. Great, Robert. Yes, I'm in. Awesome. Okay, so what standard margin does a distributor want? Very good question, Michelle. That's not, it's not in stone. You have to negotiate. typically they will want, a distributor will want around 30%, which means that when you're working with a distributor, your retailers are going to know they're going to need to lower the amount that they get. So for example, when I got into grocery stores, I was in Safeway and Kroger's and King Soopers, 10,000 stores nationwide. I was working with a distributor, and the grocery stores loved working with the distributors more than the inventors, because the distributors have all their systems in place. I drove up to the distributor's warehouse down in Sunnyvale, and they had huge trucks. Everything was like ready to roll, and huge warehouses, which is not how it is for most of us, right? So the retailers see the advantage of working with these established distributors. So they will, if you say, great, I'm working with this distributor so that we can make this process a lot easier for you in terms of getting everything out to your stores seamlessly, but I need us to negotiate more on the margins in order to have some piece of this pie for the distributor for it all to work out. And they understand that. So I was able to maneuver around and move the numbers around. And by the way, if you don't have the margin calculator, I have a margin calculator on my website that will help you calculate these numbers. And essentially and I just decided just now, I'm just going to throw that in. So if you want to grab hold of this product sales bootcamp, I'm throwing that in too. We're throwing everything in the kitchen sink because this tool is awesome. So I'm telling you right now that I will go ahead, if you do ahead and sign up for the program, I am going to throw in the margin calculator. It's normally $19.95 or something. And I have a 12-minute tutorial that teaches you how to use it. This tool is invaluable because it helps you figure out your own margins. It helps you figure out the margins for the retailer, and it helps you figure out if you have a distributor as part of the piece of the pie. So I just want you to know that it's an invaluable tool that will help you maneuver these numbers around so that you all are whole, because the last thing you want to do is cut yourself short. I do not want you doing that. You've got to figure something else out. Do not cut yourself short so you're making so little that you're just scraping by while everybody else is making money. That's not going to work. That's not a viable business. Okay, any more questions coming in? Keep your questions coming, okay? And Michelle, I'm just launching a brand new beauty tool. What's your best advice on how to get a big sales start initially? Really need to make $80K investment back quickly. Yeah, well, you saw Click and Curl. She is blowing out on her beauty tool. What's interesting about Nims Gern, if you haven't read her story, she's in the Mom Vendor's Handbook. She had no beauty background whatsoever. She was just annoyed that she didn't have a solution for styling her hair quickly. And she came up with that. And the beauty tools sell like crazy on these home shopping networks because that is the perfect target audience. So my best advice is to get yourself set up and go jump onto QVC Sprouts and apply. You will be amazed at how simple their application process is, and see, you're going to want to, again, have a demo video and just real quick. Don't be doing the long videos. Just how does this thing work? Show how fabulous people will look after they've used your tool. Again, I don't know what your tool does, but show the before and after. I find that, as you know, before and afters are really dramatic. And you could show, if in your email to prospective home shopping networks, you could include a before and after shot, as well as a link to an how-to video, just to get people going. Also, another great thing is to get some media coverage. And if you don't know how to get into magazines, one of the most amazing tricks to getting into a magazine is you want to go look at their editorial calendars. And the way you do this is you go to the magazine. I have a tutorial on this, by the way, that I show you exactly how to do it on my YouTube channel. And my YouTube, I'm just going to write it down here just so you have it. And you can search and just say editorial calendars, but just so you know, my YouTube channel is right here. I'm about to put it into the chat. It's youtube.com/Monosoff. That should have popped right in. And but what you can do is you go to the website. Let's say you want to get featured again. I don't know, Women's Day is in my mind for some reason, and you want to get your product into Women's Day magazine. But you've got to make sure that you are understanding the calendar, because magazines plan their calendars a year in advance. So what you can do, and the way you find their editorial calendars, sometimes they're hidden. They're really hard to find, but the reason why they put those editorial calendars there on their sites is to sell advertisements in their magazines. So go down to the very bottom of these websites with a small print and click on the sales. Like it's usually under sales, and this is so that big, let's say, you know, Neutrogena wants to do a big ad in Women's Day. That's why they put those links there. So you go in there and you click the sales link, and then you go look for editorial calendars, and the magazine has spelled out month by month what the theme for that month is. So let's say, and it's almost the same every year, where January, fresh new start. Okay, April, spring cleaning, organization. So you have an organizational tool, that's gonna be it. Then there's gonna be another month that's gonna be about beauty, and then you're gonna get into the holiday gifts and holiday gift guides coming in December, right? So all of that is spelled out, so you can see where your product would fit in. And magazines you need at least a 3-month lead time. And then you can go ahead and find the editor that is responsible for that type. And if that is not an obvious person, there's always a contact for the magazine, and just ask them who the appropriate editor is for the April edition of the magazine, because you have a product that would be a perfect fit. It's a process, it takes time, but I'm telling you, when you get that magazine coverage, magazines are amazing because they stay in doctors' offices for months. They're passed around. They're around for a long time. But most importantly, then you can refer and say, hey, I remember one of my sandwich cutters that I mentioned earlier, they were featured, they were in Rachel Ray's magazine as under her favorites. That was huge. I was able to then take that and send that around to all the other retailers saying just featured in Rachel Ray's magazine. So you can see how sales and marketing come together. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. All right, do you have more questions? I hope I'm not missing anything. Please keep sending me your questions. And I know while you're thinking about if you have any more, okay, Michelle, how much is magazine? Oh, it's free. Editorial coverage is free. I'm not talking about paid advertisement. No, I'm talking about editorial coverage, which means that you contact the editor and you say you have a hot new beauty product that is perfect for their beauty guide that's coming up in their March issue or whatever issue it is. I'm just making that up. But so you've done your homework ahead of time, and you've identified the perfect issue for your product. Then you contact the editor saying, I've got a hot new beauty item that is perfect for your beauty guide, and this is what it does for people. Make sure to always say in one sentence the result that people are going to get from your product. So put that into your email and to the editor. But if they say that they're going to interview you, it's fantastic because it's free. And of course you know the benefit of you getting that type of coverage. And it's not just actual magazines, you can look at online magazines as well. Okay, I hope that helps. Dawn, I got a call from basically a telemarketing company, the Guerrilla Marketing, who says they make calls to other businesses who don't attend trade shows and speak directly on behalf of your business. Okay, I'm so glad you brought these things up. I can't speak to the company that you're talking about, but there are companies that prey on inventors, entrepreneurs, and basically tell them that they're going to do all the work for you, and they're going to make all the calls for you. They're going to get a licensing deal for you. They're going to get you into big box retail stores, and then you're like, oh, great, great, great. And then they say, well, listen, why don't I just do a market feasibility study? It's only $100 or $300, and we'll give you a market feasibility study to see if you have a viable business. Then lo and behold, a couple months later, you get this marketability study where they've essentially just used the same template, plugged your product in and shown you that you're going to make $1 million and you've got the hottest product ever. And then after you are all excited, then they say, okay, all we're gonna need, and trust me, I've heard this over the last decade, it has broken my heart to hear of people coming to me saying, what do? I just gave this company $20,000 and now I can't reach anyone. So let me just say this, if something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. It takes you mapping this out methodically. It's a process. It really gets exciting. I know it can seem overwhelming, but if you just say, listen, I'm going to contact these 10 retailers a day, or I'm going to contact, these X number of media outlets a day, give yourself, and make it realistic. Say, realistically, I can only contact 2 retailers a day or 2 magazines a day, but that's 2 more than you did before. And not only that, if you create these plans that I'm telling you about and you really map it out, you can do this. You can do this successfully, and it is so rewarding to see. And then, of course, momentum builds on momentum, okay? And you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. Okay, Kim, what is your opinion of an easy shop? Do you think an Etsy shop will hurt or benefit a product if it's already in retail outlets? Okay, so one of the things you have to be really careful about, and unfortunately I've learned this the hard way, is you do not want to undermine your retailers. So if your product is selling, let's say at Babies R Us for $29.95, you do not want to have it on your website for $29.95 or $28.95 or anything underneath, or even the same price. That is undermining your retailers. You will lose your retailers. We lost one of the biggest deals ever because of this, because they do their homework. When they take your product on, they're searching you on the web. They're looking at your website. They're Googling you. They want to see where you are, what your presence is, and they will see if you're selling it and if you're undermining them. So yes, you can continue to sell your product, but if you're selling at Babies R Us for $29.95, jack your price up and have it sell on your site for, $40 bucks, $39.95, or even higher, $45. Really don't make sure to support your retailers and not undermine them, because that is the easiest and fastest way to lose your retailers, and you don't want to do that. Okay, I hope I answered. Oh, in terms of Etsy, I really can't speak to Etsy. I know that's what I've heard from other people who are on Etsy, is that their items get lost because there are so many thousands of products. Like I've had people who are make jewelry and they're just overwhelmed. It just does not work to do it that way. So you can have other creative ways. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Grommet. That's a really interesting website that are very supportive of entrepreneurs and new items. And so it's called the Grommet. I hope I'm spelling it correctly. I'll put it right here, thegrommet.com. If this is not the right website, or not the exact name or email, just Google the Grommet and you'll see it's a sales platform. It's almost like an online magazine or online store. It's just another retail outlet, but they're very supportive of new entrepreneurs, which I think is great. Okay, Douglas, do you think Facebook advertising is a good marketing sales tool? What do you think about trying to get likes on Facebook, Mark? I've had people give me all different feedback about Facebook. I have spent thousands of dollars on Facebook and I stopped because I was not getting the results that I wanted to get for the thousands of dollars, because I found that when I have something enticing, like a really great offer, something that I'm telling people what the results are, I'm giving them something, I'm really being generous, and I'm giving them something of value, that's when I get people going, whoa, I want that. And so I found I have not had that same success. Now, you may ask somebody else and they have great success with Facebook. So the best way is to test it, and test it with the amount of money that you feel comfortable I always say, how much money do you feel comfortable losing, right? So if you're willing to put $500 into this and test it out and see how much traffic is driven to your website, and in what sales, what increase in sales you have seen as a result of that ad, if you can see that and track that, and through your Google Analytics, then, and you're getting a great result, then it's working for you. So there's no real right answer to Facebook advertising. It's really just testing things out. And also I experiment with all different things, and I'm finding that videos are really the way to go. And where, something, Douglas, that you might want to do, again, I don't know what your product is, but in addition, I know I mentioned product, I mentioned a product demo, but another really awesome and powerful thing that you could do is have testimonials on video. So if you could have some of your customers say on video how awesome your product is and what it has done for their lives or changed their lives or whatever it is that the outcome has been for them, that has huge impact when people see that. So not only could you post that on your social sites to drive people back to your website with your link, you could also put that onto your sales pages. And make sure that it's genuine. Make sure that there are people, because people can see right through it if it's not genuine. So make sure that it's genuine in terms of they're people that have really had a great experience working with your product or whatever it is that you have. Okay. Oh, good, Anna. Anna said the grommet is correct. Perfect. Dawn says, which social media platforms are a must for new products? So it really depends on what you want to do. Yes, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, great for visuals. And frankly, I love Twitter, and I just do. And I love it because guess what? Your reporters, editors are all there. I have gotten more media interviews from Twitter. Amazingly, you follow them, you tell them something, just send a little tweet, send them a little link to the video or to whatever you want them to know, and then you follow them, they follow you, and then I've been asked again and again for interviews that way. Now you can just proactively ask them, say, I would love to connect with you and talk to you about my new product and how it's changing people's lives. Or again, focusing on the results. People are always interested in the results. Media also wants to hear about you, your backstory. Why did you create this? So if you have an interesting backstory, be sure and share it with the media. Now, I'm not talking about going on and on and on, but let's say, I've had people say, wow, you know what? I got cancer and I decided that's it. I needed to create this whatever item it was because I wanted to help other people. So if yours is, it was inspired for a reason, or if you were in the military and now you've learned a skill and you want to help people in a different, with your new product, and because you knew it was helpful in the military. Again, I'm making this up. Think about what your personal story is, what your background is, and see, because sometimes that's the media hook. So it's not just about your product, but a little sentence about why you created the business, if it's an important piece of this story that would capture the media's attention. So just think about that. So Dawn, to answer your question, I would say YouTube. For all of you who've not embraced media or video yet, I get it. It takes some getting used to, and I understand that it can feel uncomfortable to create videos, but there's so many awesome tools for creating videos, and you can do it on camera and off camera. So you can record obviously you'd want to be on camera if you're doing a product demo, but you can be off camera too. You've seen these photo montage videos to music. Animoto is my favorite, Animoto. You can go check that out. They have a free version so you can test them out. I use Animoto as a great way to show wonderful visuals, add some text, add some music to create energy, and bam, you're done with your video, and you can start posting that on social media, driving people back to your website. Keep in mind that no matter what you do, whatever social platforms you're using, be sure and tell people what you'd like them to do. So click here to see product demo, click here to learn more, click here to to buy, to grab your whatever it is, to take advantage of the buy two of these beauty tools and get one free for a friend. Okay, whatever it is, but that it's really, I can't tell you enough how exciting social media is as tools to drive people back to your site. So again, I can't, in terms of Facebook, Instagram, or Pinterest, I use religiously, I use Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Because if you go to LinkedIn and you type in, let's say you typed in Today's Show producers, voila, there they are. So I find LinkedIn to be really powerful. Then if there's someone on LinkedIn that you really want to contact, but you don't want to pay for LinkedIn service, grab their name, jump over to Twitter, and send them a message. And don't send them a private message because they'll never respond. Send them a public message so they feel compelled to respond, because it looks bad if they don't. So these are the little tricks that you can use to get people to respond to you. I hope that helps you. Okay, let me see here. I think I answered that. Michelle, what do I need to send out in a press kit or to retailers? Do I need to send a sample to everyone? So no, you don't. That's why a video is so important. If you have great photos of your product, then you can, in that email, in that initial email, have a fantastic photo that captures people's, they're like, wow, that's really amazing. And then you have a link to, a thing that says, watch 1 minute video to see how it works. Click to watch 1 minute video to see how it works. Then you click and they watch the video. That's all they need. All right. And some retailers are going to ask for samples. If the product is really expensive, then they know that you can't afford, that you can't just be sending out these samples to everyone. So, I know when I first started out, I had these 3 prototypes and I could not give them out. Each prototype cost me $150. I couldn't just give them out. So that's why you want to use your visual pictures and video to show. And then eventually when you get when they're ready to go into retail, the retailers are going to want to see the real deal. They're going to want to see how is it going to be the finished product, how is it packaged, and how it's going to fit in terms of their venue and who they're selling to. I hope that answered your question. But that's why video is so great, because it prevents you from having to send a sample to everyone. Okay, Dawn, do you think it is a good decision to hire someone to do SEO for your product, and how important is this for a new product? I have never hired anyone to do SEO, and if you Google me and my products, it pops right to the top. So one of the things that you can do is all of your photos, videos, make sure that you put keywords. Okay, so when you're uploading a video to YouTube, you're going to put into the description, I want you to all really hear this. With YouTube, in the description beneath the video, that is golden right there. The very first thing before you describe what it is that you're going to show in the video, you put your website URL, and it can go directly to your sales page. So put that first, and then in the description, say what it is, and use keywords to describe it. So if it's a beauty product, you're going to say, it's a beauty product. You're going to say what type of beauty product. So anyone who's searching on Google is going to, those keywords are going to help them find your videos. And your product photos, by the way, when you save your photos, you know how you just save a photo and then you upload it to your website? You can save your photo with keywords. So be sure and do that, because when Google's searching, those photos will help generate traction and people coming to you, just because they've been saved with those keywords. So use keywords, use your descriptions, and put keywords in your description so that when people are searching on Google, that your images and your videos pop up. Also, just so you know, this is really an interesting fact, that 60% I don't know if you know this, but Google owns YouTube. So 60% of all searches, so when we're on Google searching for something, for any type of information, 60% of all searches, Google is now directing directing people who are searching, directing them to YouTube videos. 60% of Google searches are being sent to YouTube videos. That is incredible. So just keep that in mind, okay? And Michelle, should I spend money on a sales sheet that is a product pamphlet? Is there any benefit from it? Yeah, you don't have to spend a lot of money on this. You just have to have a great photo and the features and benefits of your product and contact information. So you can use this unbelievably hot free website. If you don't know it, I'm smiling because I use this every day. Go to canva.com for your graphics. You do not have to have any background in graphics, and you can create the most amazing sell sheets, Facebook headers, YouTube headers. You can create graphics for your website for free, and you don't have to have any background in graphic design whatsoever. For those of you who've never heard of Canva, don't go there now because I'm going to lose you because it's so much fun. But you can put text, change colors, you can use their templates, and then most of it's free. If there's something that's not free, it will have the Canva logo kind of stamp printed across it. And you just, as you finish up your design and you're saying you're finished and you're ready to share it or save it, they will ask you to pay $1 for the design that you used. But in most cases, I've just used the free versions. So incredible resource for you right there. And Michelle, you can create a product sheet for free that way. Then your product sheet you can save, and you can just include that in your emails, right? That could just be a clickable document that they could open up, or it's a visual that they can open up and see, or that you could attach an email. And then, of course, if you want to get something printed, there are really inexpensive ways to print. I've printed sell sheets before on Vista Prints. I'm pretty sure that's it. It's Vista Prints. I've had all sorts of things printed on there. Really, really inexpensive and decent quality way to very cost effectively print your sell sheets. Okay, anyone else have any questions? We have about 15 more minutes, and so I'm here for you, so let me know by sending me your questions, and take advantage of this incredible webinar where I'm throwing in not only the program, which is just rich with content and information and templates for you that are real fabulous tools. I am going to give you the margin calculator, and I'm also going to give you, amazingly, I've never given away the top retail and catalog lists before. So I'm excited for you. I hope you take advantage of it. So going back to the chat, any other questions? Hey, Carrie, my first shipment arrives mid-July. Woohoo! I just have to say, congratulations, Carrie. I'm so excited for you. When is the best ideal time to connect with retailers to start selling? Oh, right this minute. It's a process and it takes time. So, Carrie, if you have your images, I've seen some of your images and they look fantastic. So you have what you need to sell right now. So start really getting aggressive, identifying who you're going to sell to, and then go ahead and start contacting them right now with your wow factor email, with your video and your description and photo, and any sort of good thing that you have, put that right into your sizzling subject heading and start aggressively pounding now, because by the time you become a vendor and get up and running, it's going to take you into July. It takes time to get everything set up, with the exception, I think when I with Zulily, it took, from beginning to end, it was about 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks. With a large big box retailer, it can take months. So definitely get yourself set up, okay, and get going. And be sure, Carrie, to let us know on social media all the good news for you. I'm super excited for you. Okay, and Dawn, I am at the phase where I am creating packaging for my product. Need advice on this subject? Simple. Find product packaging that you love that is super clear and simple. The fewer words you have, the better, but make sure that you got your title, and then the next thing is what it describes what your product is in the most descriptive terms. In other words, a consumer needs to walk by on the store shelves and get what's inside that package in less than 3 seconds. You've only got 3 seconds to have the consumer's eyes drop onto your product and fully understand what your product is. So keep that in mind and get feedback from people. Make sure and say, okay, hey, what do I need here? What can I eliminate? Make sure to include your website also on your packaging. I'm amazed sometimes at how many people forget to put their websites on there. So make sure that you've got your contact information on your website as well. But simplicity also, simplicity is key. I agree. I went and bought some hot chocolate. Some of you may have heard this, but I went and got some hot chocolate recently, and I realized, there's 100 different hot chocolates on the store shelves. And then I asked myself, why did I pick this new version of hot chocolate? And it was because the box had almost no writing on it. It was so clean and clear, and I just got it and I wanted it. So just make sure that it's very understandable to the consumer and that they get it instantly. Okay, Lynn, how would you happen to know how a disabled person would go about getting a product to market? Well, the steps are the same. You would follow the same steps, but you may just need to have a partner that would help you, Lynn, is what I would suspect, that you have all the resources and tools available to you with all the steps, but you would need some extra support. So think about who that might be in your closest circle, and if you don't have somebody in a closest circle, reach out in ways that you may not have before. What I mean by that is reach out, join a women's group, or join a group that maybe have people that have other that are disabled also, but is an active group involved with business. Or figure out how you can reach out to other people, maybe outside your friends and family if you don't have any type of support that way, and see if there's anyone that would help you. If they don't want to partner with you, maybe they could just offer you support and help you walk through those steps. I hope that helps. Okay, Jessica, how difficult is it to get certified with the WBENC? That is the Women Becoming Women Certified Business. I just had someone who just went the process. The paperwork is a bit cumbersome, but she got through it, and you can too. It's worth it. In fact, one of my students, I'm so excited, she just finished the paperwork, and within a few weeks, she was able to she got certified. I don't know, she heard from him about 3 weeks later, 3 or 4 weeks later. And then amazingly, she saw this opportunity to sell for the Super Bowl, the next upcoming Super Bowl. And she was the only woman certified business that showed up to that meeting. And so now she is going to be the only woman business, because they say that they want to invite other diverse groups in. She's the only woman vendor who's going to be at this serving her products or selling her products to the Super Bowl, which is so awesome. So it's worth going through the process. And as I said, the paperwork is a bit cumbersome, but once you get through it, it's definitely worth it and carries a lot of advantages. And another one, another person that I've been working with recently just got a meeting with Lowe's to sell her product, housewares product, because she went through the diversity office and had that certification. And that's one of the first things that they asked her. Okay, I hope that helps. Nilgun, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not. How do I make a Facebook page separate from my individual page? Aha, I'm so glad you asked that question. So when you log out of Facebook completely, so that you can get to, just type facebook.com and you go into facebook.com, and then you're going to say, it's going to ask you if you want to sign up, and it's got the name, email. Don't add your name in there. Look underneath that form where it asks for your name and email, and in a little link underneath that, it asks you, I don't know why they make it so difficult, but it's just this little link underneath that main form for signing up for Facebook, and it will say, you know, do you have a business? Excuse me, do you have a business, or you want to create a fan page for a business, a product, or a service? And then, or if you have a band or whatever your business is, and you can click on there, and that's how you set up your business fan page separate from your personal page. I'm glad you brought that up, and I hope that that helped. Okay, do you recommend paying for the paid LinkedIn account, or is the free version okay, Jessica? It depends. You know, the advantage of paying for the LinkedIn account is that if you find the retail buyers on there, which they are there, trust me, I've seen that they're on there, then you can send them what's called in-mail, and you can immediately send them an email through LinkedIn. And yes, that's easier, right? So that is an advantage. I have people who do that, and they are really glad that they do. I find it to be pretty pricey, and so I've always just used the free version. So I use the free version, I find out people's names, and I usually take those names and I contact them on Twitter. So that's just your personal choice in terms of how you spend your money. But you might want to try out the free version, and then if you find that you're having trouble contacting people, then you may want to invest in the next level up. But I've had no issue finding people through the free, just using it for free. Okay, good, Niljan, I'm glad I was able to answer your question. Okay, Carrie, should I invest in a blog post to create buzz and excitement for our product launch, or should I just wait until I have my product in hand for promotions, giveaways? Definitely get set up. Now, I don't know what your website is, but you should, all of you should be thinking about your website, and I want you to be thinking about a couple of things. Number one, I want you to have an opt-in. You want people to come to your website and not just look and then leave. That is no value to you. You need to have a way to capture their emails and names so that you can continue to reach them even after they leave, and tell them about new fabulous things that are happening, new products and services that you're offering, tips that you have. Again, going back to the example that I just made up about if you had a product that helped people, or people who couldn't sleep, you could offer in your blog, you know, 3 tips to help you have a great night's sleep. And, you know, you can start establishing yourself as an expert through these blogs. Or, you know, for you, Carrie, I happen to know what your product is, and it's called a pod pet, and it's a way to hold, for children to hold their digital devices. Well, Carrie, in your blog, you could let people know not just about how awesome your product is. Yes, you want to do that, but you also want to give people more, like interesting facts about how many devices are destroyed each year from their kids dropping the device on the ground and it shattering. You know, these types of stats are available, like how many are broken or dropped each year. And you can say, did you know that, you know, X million devices are broken each year because they've been dropped? Now with Pod Pet, your children, you know, you can have your children have their iPad or whatever device they have, their iPhone, and you will have peace of mind, because if they drop it, it's being held by this cozy little creature, right, or stuffed animal. So you can play with this. So make sure that when you're blogging, that you're not just thinking about promoting, but you're also giving interesting tips of value, and that starts to establish yourself as an expert in the area, and they start to look for you for tips and advice in terms of your area. For you, Jessica, it would be beauty tips. You could do beauty tips, okay? And I know one of you also has another beauty type item. I think that was you, Dawn, or Michelle. Okay, so anyway, I hope that helps. So let me just go back to the blog thing. So the one thing you want to have is an opt-in, and then, sorry, I didn't finish that thought. The second thing is the blog, and you want to make sure that you're picking a website template that has the blog feature built in to make it easy for you. The beauty of having a blog feature is you just write down your tips or whatever you want to tell people. Then you can grab that link, you post it on your site, and then you grab that link and you can drop that into also your social sites, and then with a link back to where you want them to go, which is your website, right? That blog post is linked to your website. So if they click on it, it's going to drive them right back to your website. And then on that same blog post, you can have other links on your page, 3 tips to sleeping better. And then beneath, you could have a link to your product that helps people sleep better. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, and okay, good, great, Carrie. I'm glad that was helpful. And let me see. Oh, good. There's some communication going on between you, which I love. Great. All right, Jessica. When you create an independent owned small store, what's the best tool resource to use? Okay, I think what you're talking about is an online store, Jessica. If I'm understanding your question, you can. Shopify is a great resource for those of you that don't know Shopify. This is a store with templates that you can choose, shopify.com, and they have it. So if you don't want to have a website and you just want to have a storefront, Shopify is a great tool. They have different templates that you can choose from with different layouts, looks, and feel. And if you just want to have it all done for you and you just put your products and it links to your e-commerce, which means to your shopping cart seamlessly, then Shopify can be a fantastic resource for you. I think that may be what you were asking. If I'm wrong, Jessica, please do let me know. Okay. And any other questions? We have 5 minutes left, and 5 minutes to grab your spot in the Product Sales Bootcamp program and all your other goodies. And Lynn, did I miss you? Would you have? Okay, no, I think I answered that. And anything else? One other thing I'll just say before we jump off, because I know beforehand somebody was asking me about sales reps. Just let me just say this: when you're selling, and sales reps can be very helpful because it's an extension of yourself. So if you want to work with sales reps, I just want you to think about a couple of things. One is you usually pay sales reps about 15% if they have small stores as part of, you want to make sure you know what accounts they currently have. And if they have small stores, then you would give them about 15% if they got your products into those small stores. If they have large accounts, like big box stores, like Walmart's, Target's, Lowe's, all the big stores, then their percentage drops down to around 5%. That's the going rate. So I just want to tell you this because I don't want you to be overpaying your sales reps, but there is an advantage to having other people selling. They already have accounts. They're already have relationships with buyers. What's interesting about sales reps is usually they've been buyers and working in retail for years, and then they decide to go out on their own. So oftentimes they already have relationships with these people. And so they have these relationships, they go off, they create their own business, and then they already have these accounts that they can take your product in with them. And they aren't just showing your product, they're showing a whole handful of products. And so just to keep that in mind. Also, when you work with a sales rep, don't just give them the whole country. They're going to say, okay, I'll rep your product and I want the whole country. No, don't do that. You can divide it up differently based on their strengths. So it could be that their stores are primarily only on the West Coast. Well, then definitely don't give them the whole country, because that means that that's where their strength is. So you say, well, where do you sell primarily? What are your accounts? Don't be afraid to ask them the names of their accounts. And if they say, well, I'm in all of the stores in California, then you say, great, you can have California. Or you can even say, I will just give you the rights to sell my product to your accounts. And then you are able to then get other sales reps and divide up the country or divide it up by accounts. Let's say, like when I was in the grocery stores nationwide, I had a distributor on the West Coast and I had a distributor on the East Coast, and I just made sure that they were not stepping on each other's toes, okay? So just make sure that you don't give away all of your power. that it's important that, yes, it's awesome to have some extra help in selling. And yes, it can be a huge advantage to you to have more people selling for you, but just make sure that you control the power and you make sure that you divide up the accounts in an appropriate way, so that you can not just give away, and just not just give them the whole country when you know that they're really not gonna, they're not gonna be able to manage the whole country. And there's no way, that the country's huge, so you can divide it up accordingly. So I hope that helps. And I think that's it, everyone. Jessica, error typo, independently owned store list. Independently owned store list. Gosh, Jessica, I'm so sorry. I'm not understanding your question. Oh, if you're asking about the list that I'm giving away, they are 350 retail stores that a lot of them are chain stores. I mean, it's a huge list. And I also think it's really exciting that the military is on there, because I don't know if you've ever thought about selling to the military, but think about all the stores that are on the military bases that we never even think of selling to, and they need great stuff too. So again, there's all sorts of different stores on there, and I hope I'm answering your question. But with that said, everyone, it is 90 minutes. Amazing. And it has been such a pleasure. Oh, let me just jump over and jump back on camera really quick. There. It has been awesome speaking with you. I have enjoyed every single minute. Great questions. And I hope that you've found them to be of value. And it's just been such a pleasure. So with that said, I look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Take care. Bye.